The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention when you were just talking to me. Do you think that you could repeat the question? And I listened more attentively. There must have been something in all of that nothing that wasn't quite so easy to see.
All right, we're up.
And I must have missed something when you were just talking to me. I must have not been paying attention when you were busy slamming the door. I guess the things that pass for affection
All right, what do you say?
the same as they were.
Let's get this show on the road. Should we wait for the bopper pause? No, we'll just start the show. We got a lot to get to.
All right.
Hi, how you guys doing? My name's Tom Duggan here with the Paying Attention Podcast. Hi atop Two Guys Smoke Shop at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. We've got a couple of great guests today, and we're going to do a bash update, and we got a TMF update. We got all kinds of stuff to get to. Before we do, Saturday night at 7 o'clock at Sadie's. Did I say that right? Is it Shady's or Sadie's?
Sadie's Bar and Grill. Here in
Sadie's
Salem.
Bar and Grill here in Salem, New Hampshire. My fine producer, Chrissy, is going to be singing with her
Yeah,
band
my band's playing.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
So if you want to see how hot this girl is, you're not even going to believe it. You're going to show up and go, oh, my God, that's Duggan's producer? No wonder why he won't quit.
Oh.
So
Also, if you would
Saturday-
just like to hear some really cool music,
Right.
that would be good
Yeah,
too.
the music's good, too. I might even go to that. I have
That would be
nothing on my
awesome.
schedule for Saturday night, and something might pop up because it always does. But as of right now, I'm planning on going.
It is our first gig of 2022. We'd love to see a
Nice.
big show out of
I
support
just
from everyone.
I just want to see what she's wearing.
Rockstar.
Right? And I got called a misogynist earlier. I just want to let everybody know misogyny means you hate women. It doesn't mean you love them. So just a little. Don't let the news media, and the liberal college professor that you had fool you into thinking that misogyny means you like women, because it really doesn't. We have a bash update, so let's pull that up and on your end, and I'll pull it up on my end so I can see. So here's our bash update as of like 5 minutes before we went on the air, because we've gotten we were at what, 7,000 last week?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think we were at 7,000. We're up to $11,300. We got $1,200 for the Lawrence High Junior ROTC. And we usually have Eugene Smith kicks us off with $1,400 on this scholarship, but he's very sick. And I was not about to call a guy who's not well and ask him for a donation. So we're trying to pick up the slack on our end. So this is at $1,200. So we're almost at the $1,400 that we need to start this scholarship off. And the goal on each of these scholarships is $5,000. I'd love to go over that, but I want to try and at least get $5,000 per kid. The Dan Cody Memorial Scholarship, $2,320. I think that's our highest. The Haverhill High School Michelle DeLuca Benedetti Memorial Scholarship, $1,885. The Greater Lawrence Tech Scholarship, $1,345. The Whittier Scholarship, $2,300. And the Methuen High School Studio 21 Podcast Cafe Scholarship at $2,250 for a total of $11,300, which is pretty good for the last week. We've raised, almost $5,000 in the last week. And almost all of these scholarship donations, almost all of them, are $20, $50, $100. People are kicking in what they can. So the fact that we've got over $11,000 from small donors, I haven't hit any of my big donors up yet. I haven't talked to, and we know every year AFC Urgent Care gives us a couple of thousand. We've got other people that usually come in at the end. So before we even get to our big donors, we're already well on our way, I think, and that's pretty. If you'd like to donate, you can use PayPal, you can use Venmo, you can use Cash App. Please don't use Zelle. I'm having a hard time with Zelle for some reason. We're not getting. Somebody made a donation, but we're not getting it. Yeah. And what's the other one? There's Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and Square. So if you have any of those, you can make a donation, or you can always mail a check, which is good because when you use one of these apps, they take a fee. And I'm kicking in out of pocket to make up for all the fees that are coming in. But if you want to do PayPal, friends and family, they don't take a fee. And if you want to mail us a check to 75 Main Street, North Andover, Valley Patriot Bash, that would be good because there's no fee for that. So we do have almost all of our kids picked. I was hoping we'd have them all picked by today. We have all but one. Who's our first? So this one is Patrick Cody. When Al Velo came to my office back in 2018, the day after Dan Cody from Cody's Towing was killed on Route 495, he said, I was very good friends with Dan. I want to start a scholarship in his name. And I'm hoping that when his kid, it was to go to a kid that graduated from the Thompson Grammar School in North Andover. And I said, why the Thompson Grammar School? He said, because that's where Dan's kids go now. Mm-hmm. He said, and I'm hoping that this scholarship is still going when they graduate high school. This year, that's going to happen. This year, Patrick Cody, Dan Cody's son, is going to get the Dan Cody Memorial Scholarship. So we'd like to get that up to at least $5,000 or more. Anybody who's in the towing service that remembers that, you were all in the parade for his funeral, reach out to us, please. Even if it's $20, $100. Martineau's Towing, Valley Towing, all the people that that we try to help throughout the year. And I know Bobby Sheehan will kick something in because he always does every year. Please kick in for that scholarship. This is this young lady that you're looking at right here is Grace Parsons. She is our Whittier Tech Scholarship, thanks to Haverhill School Committee member Scott Wood, who picks our scholarship kid every year from Whittier and Haverhill High School. What's the next one do we have?
The girls from the Vogue.
And the girls from the Vogue. All right. So from the Greater Lawrence Technical School, we have Gianci, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Gianci and Yorolani Batista Jesus. They're twins. And so Jessica said, I can't just give one kid a scholarship and not give the twin a scholarship. So they're actually going to split the money. So we really want to get the Greater Lawrence Tech Scholarship, maybe even above $5,000, so each of these kids can get a little bit more because they're actually getting a little less because they're splitting it. We don't have pictures of our Michelle DeLuca Benedetti Scholarship winner. He's actually, I believe, the son of a police officer. Scott Wood got us this kid, too. His name is Maxwell Bork. And who else do we have? Oh, and the junior ROTC, we got the name this morning, thanks to Brenda Rossi. And I apologize if I'm saying this wrong. It's Katerin Euclid from the junior ROTC. So it's actually, she's, I think, the only one that doesn't know she's getting the scholarship. And what we do at the beginning of the night is, the first award we give out is our Hero Veteran Scholarship, our Hero Veteran Award. So at the beginning of the night, we have the junior ROTC march into the room to shut everybody up. And then we do colors, we do a Pledge of Allegiance, and they think they're just there to do like color guard stuff because that's what they do. And then I'll grab the microphone and say, hey, is there a Katrina Euclid in the room? And, of course, she'll be one of the ones holding the flag, and we'll pull her out of line. Her commander will take the flag for her, and we'll give her the scholarships. That's going to be really special, as well as the Dan Cody thing is also going to be really special. One other thing, we have the comedy night here, March 25th, here at the studio. It's going to be a telethon. It's a comedy telethon. We have 6 comedians. Each comedian is going to do their set for a specific kid. We're going to have a Venmo or a PayPal number at the bottom that you can donate. We have Eric Spagnoli. Eric Spags, world-famous comedian, is going to be emceeing that event, and hopefully we can raise some money for that. We were supposed to have a poker night tonight. We got 0 interest. Prior to COVID, I'd go on Facebook and say, we're having a poker night. I'd do it on a Monday and say, we're having a poker night Thursday, and 15 people would show up. Since COVID, I've literally had 0 interest, so we're canceling the poker night. Unless people call me and say they want to do it. If you get enough people, then I'll do it, but it won't be tonight for sure. And then the last thing is the basketball bracket. So Kevin Druin, a good friend of mine, joined the Bash Committee this week because we need help on the Bash Committee. And on his own, went on Facebook, started a basketball bracket. He's doing a pool for March Madness. And all of the money is going to go to the junior ROTC kid for our Lawrence High Scholarship. So I want to thank Kevin. And if you're interested in taking one of the brackets, I posted it on my Facebook page. I linked him, so you can either instant message him or instant message me, and you'll get that. All right, I think we got everything. Oh, we have one more thing. Last night, Michael Agricola from Salvatore's Restaurant, the greatest guy you're ever going to meet in your life, hosted all of the TMF homeless people that we feed on Wednesday night out in the cold, and said, no, he got a bus, had the bus go to where we normally feed them, because that's where they all showed up to eat, put everybody on a bus, brought them to Salvatore's restaurant, gave them a free meal for the night, and everybody that left got overnight bags, they got hand warmers, they got blankets, they got socks, and I want to thank Mike Agricola. Out of pocket, paid for their dinner last night for well over 50 people, and that's just amazing. But even more amazing is that we have a mayor in Lawrence now who gives a shit about the homeless. He actually showed up at the dinner last night and made the announcement that we're going back to the bus stop. We have to get it approved by the council, but I've been surveying the council members, and it looks like we're probably going to have the votes. Again, we don't count our chickens yet. But the mayor is going to support it, and he has sent a letter to the council saying he supports it 100% to have TMF go back to the Buckley garage so the homeless can eat their food under an overhang and not have their food get rained on, snowed on, all the. We've had done this thing in like 3 feet of snow sometimes, and a lot of the homeless people, when it's snowing like that, they don't want to get out from underneath their warm sleeping bag and then walk a mile to us to sit outside and have their food get rained on or snowed on. So this is going to be a big thing for us. All right, sitting next to me, to my left, to your right. To my left, your right, if you're watching at home, we have Dave Consoli from Pleasant Valley Landscaping. And by the way, they're looking for help, like everybody else around here. They're looking for workers. So if you want to work, you want to make some money, this is the guy to work for. He's the easiest guy in the world to work for as long as you do your job and you do what he tells you to do. That's what I talked to a number of people who work for you. After you've been on the show, I'll bump into them and they go, yeah, I work for him. He's a great guy, very easy to work for as long as you do your job. As long as you do what he tells you to do, easiest guy in the world to work for.
Nice
so
to hear.
Thank Dave for being here. And to his left, a guy that I've known since 5th grade at St. Patrick's School, right? That a long time ago, 40-something years ago. Dave Abdoo, and we can call him Dave. It's okay to call you Dave. You're not prissy like this guy. It's got to be David.
Only cool people can be called Dave.
All right,
cool.
okay, all right, fair enough. And I wanted Dave to come on because Dave hasn't been on. The last time he was on was in 2009. And I'm trying to get him on ever since, but he's so busy.
And then who did you call? Your booking agent.
Right, I called my booking agent, Dave Consoli. Whenever I can't get somebody, when I couldn't get Neil Perry, I went through everybody I could to get Neil Perry to come back on the show. I finally said, you know what? Why am I calling all these other people? I should be calling David. David will get it done. And he did. He got it done. Maybe we'll even have, you know what I'd really like to have? And he may not do it, but the bash is a night of amnesty. People roast me. People get up at the microphone and they say mean things about me and everybody laughs. And because I have no ego at all. I don't care if people want to say mean things about me. I'm fine with it. Because especially if it's funny. So I would really like for Neil Perry to show up as a surprise guest, take the microphone, and roast the hell out of me. Because even people who don't like him and like me will find it funny. But most of the people in the room don't like me, so it's going to be even more funny. Every year I get up to this microphone, and Dave will tell you, he's been there. Mm-hmm. Every year I get up to the microphone, and before I give my speech, I look around, and I count in my head how many people in this room won't even say hi to me tomorrow if I bump into them. But they come because they know we're giving money for scholarships, they know we're honoring veterans, and they know we're honoring police and fire, and those are things they care about. So they put aside their hatred of me, and they come and they donate. And really, I mean, it's great to have your friends in the room, but it's even better to have your enemies in the room to come in and say, yeah, you know what, I'm not a big fan of Tom Duggan, but this is a good event and we want to support it.
Is this a request from your booking agent?
Yes, from my booking agent. So we get Neil Perry to surprise us and come in. I don't care if we're in the middle of giving a scholarship. I'll hand him a microphone, and he can rip me to shreds. He can say whatever he wants, and it's a night of amnesty. Whatever is said in that room, we don't take anything personal the next day. We pretend it never happened. So I wanted Dave to come on. He hasn't been on in a while. He just stepped to Dave, not David. You were on the planning board in 98, if I'm remembering right, and then you served 14 years on the city council in Lawrence. 14?
Not quite that many, no. 4 terms plus. I did 4 full terms.
4, 8, 9,
9 years.
9 years on the city council in Lawrence. And now you've gone back to, private life, so to speak. You're not an elected official anymore. So now you have nothing to lose. Now he comes on the show, right? He's not going to ruin his next election campaign. And I just wanted to chat with you about, like your experience as an elected official in Lawrence, especially going all the tumult that was tumultuous stuff going on. The schools going into receivership, the infrastructure problems Lawrence was having, all the things that were going on. You were like right in the middle of all that, and you had to deal with it. And I think probably one of the adults in the room sometimes when everybody's yelling and screaming at each other. You're kind of like the Eunice Ziegler of Lawrence. You sit there and you don't engage in any of that crap. You let other people want to throw mud around. You just sit back and let them do it. And then when it comes back to you, you go right back to professionalism, talk about the issue, and I appreciate that. So talk about your time on the Lawrence City Council. What was like the one thing that you did that you think is like, the height of your success as a councilor?
Well, thanks, Tom. First of all, thanks for having me. And I would have been here last week, but you didn't ask.
I've been asking since 2009.
I told him I'm a rather boring interview, but all kidding aside, when I went back, I did a term in the previous decade, ran for mayor. That didn't work out, and I stepped away for a couple of years. Intended to be for good, but when I came back the second time, it was all the things you said, and I was recharged, ready to go, and it was the schools, the city. They were both in receiverships, separate receiverships, and fiscal management and direction. And I said, you know what, I can contribute here. I can make a difference. And I was focused on that and balance budgets, no tax increases. I had a plan. And then Columbia Gas
hit.
Blew up.
Yeah. The entire city, pretty much.
And 70% of it was my district between Andover North, Andover, Lawrence. My entire district, the entire thing, with the exception of one precinct. Politicians who think in precincts. With the exception of that one precinct, that was what became the thing I was most proud of, looking back over the last 20 years, because it wasn't a tangible something we constructed, something we balanced, finances, capital, whatever the case may be. It was helping people. And
can you boost his levels a little bit? Sorry.
No worries. How's that?
That's good.
It was helping people and acting as a customer service agent, if you will, because all of a sudden people were without homes. They were out basic things that we take for granted every day.
And it was everybody. So your phone had to, everybody in your district, right?
Everybody in my district, to include myself.
Right.
I was out of my home for over 3 weeks, stayed at a friend's home in Middleton, and actually, it was my wife, Stephanie, and kids that wanted to go home. We didn't have heat for another month after that. So we're experiencing what everyone's experiencing, but you don't think about it. I didn't think about it. I was up every morning, the next morning before light, to get down to the command center and get to work. And at night, triage the Facebook, the text messages, the emails. It was unlike any experience, and it was something I'm most proud of. And there's no period on it. There was no, there's no, you don't have a building to show for it, a balanced budget.
No ribbon cutting.
No ribbon cutting.
Right.
And it felt better than any ribbon cutting I ever did. And it was ultimately, looking back, because I thought about this when I was driving in. If you ask, well, it's that. Mm-hmm. It's that, because it was 14,000 constituents, and probably out of the 14, 10,000 of them were out of their homes.
Right.
Were out of their homes. And so that's where a public servant got to make a difference, because sometimes I think we get elected and 50% of what we do, maybe we shouldn't be doing it. Right.
I always say when people, can you bounce, for some reason I went down, I think. Did I go down? Or did my ears just, maybe my ears just blew. What was I going to say? I lost it. So you were affected, and you're not even staying in Lawrence while this is going on. You go down to you're going down to the command center. And I say this all the time to people that want to run for office or when they first get elected, like when DJ Beauregard first got elected. And I said, listen, 90% of what you do should be constituent services, and 10% of your time should be going over packets and worrying about votes, because you've got people in your neighborhood that need something. They're going to reach out to you, and you need to spend more time on that. And you need to I actually tell candidates when they're running or when they first get elected that after they get elected, they should go back and knock on doors again. Thank people for their vote, and then ask them what they need. Actually, when I was talking to Stephanie after Stephanie got elected to replace you, she asked me, like, what's the one thing that you would give as a former elected official? And that was it. Go back to the people whose doors you knocked on, thank them for their vote, and then say, now that I'm here not looking for anything, what can I do for you? What is it that you need in the neighborhood? What are your number one concerns? And you always just instinctively did that. Like, you always just instinctively knew your job was more customer service, more constituent services than it was the votes. And you could tell when you watch those meetings, everyone else is throwing crap at each other and all the psychodrama that goes on at those meetings sometimes, and you would just kind of like sit back and just let it happen. And then when it came back to you, it was like, okay, let's talk about our constituents.
And not only constituents, but sometimes it's you got to do your homework before you show up for these meetings.
Right.
And I took pride in getting it done the week before. As soon as we got the package on Fridays, you do your homework. And I don't know. I just came from a school where you don't get paid by the word. So make your words count. And so I didn't feel the need to get into every scrum every night, because more and more that was becoming a thing.
Yeah. Now, you got along well with Mayor Dan Rivera.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
You didn't really get along all that well with Willie Lantigua when he won.
So we didn't serve together.
Oh, you didn't?
We didn't serve.
Was that when you took that? Because you were off for a while and then you came back?
Yeah, I had applied for a job, mayor of Lawrence, and the voters selected Mr. Lantigua over me. And that was
Somebody should have took Tom Duggan's advice on that election. I don't want to go there, but
he's not going to do that. He's way too honest.
This guy, he's baiting me.
I'm trying, but it's not working.
But that actually, losing that race, personally, I would have been a better mayor. And
for sure. I don't think even Willie would disagree with that.
And I say that with as much modesty as one can when they make that statement. Most people don't know. Willie Lantigua and I were friends going into the race. Mm-hmm. Willie was in the race. I was the 9th one in, and there was only one after me. So really, I was a latecomer, right? And he was, he was a state rep, and so I had no reason to have a challenge with Willie, and I thought I was the best candidate and would have done the best job. And after I lost, he and I have always been fine. We have always been fine, to the point where my friends are like, what were you just doing? And it's like, he and I never had a challenge. And frankly, losing that race was the best thing that ever happened to me personally, not for the city, but personally, because I went and coached baseball, softball, and hockey for 10 years. And it was time spent with the kids. And, Lawrence is still here.
I always say the year that I left the school committee in Lawrence was my best year ever. Because once you stepped away from all, you don't realize how much pressure and how much stress being an elected official is till you step out of it. And you've been out of it for a little while. And people would say, gee, Tom, I'm really sorry you're not on the school committee anymore. I'm like, don't be, because I'm not. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm really enjoying not having that kind of constant stress, the constant phone calls, the constant, well, we didn't have text messages back then, but constant phone calls, the constant letters, people grabbing you when you're at Market Basket. Hey, I got a pothole. I'm on the school committee. What are you talking to me about a pothole for? Well, yeah, but people. So like it once you step out of it, it is refreshing. It is like a weight is lifted off your.
It is. It's a bit like being on a hamster wheel, because what else has changed is social media.
Right.
And I still have 4 accounts. And people would post in the morning and then text you at 11 or 12 and say, hey, you didn't answer my post. I would, because I had a rule of thumb. I'd get it done by the end of the day. But I had a day job, right? In Lawrence, as you know, it's a part-time school committee, part-time city council. Right. And so I had a day job that pays the bills. And I was like, wow, it wasn't like this a decade ago when I first got elected.
But you were always amazing at constituent services. Him and I are very good friends.
My parents love him.
And we even vacation
I
together.
Love them.
He'd be in Disney World, returning people's
snowstorm.
Texting people about potholes.
We were in Disney.
Peter LaRock, that's you.
We were.
I love Peter.
We were in
one of my writers.
We were in Disney World, and we had a massive blizzard coming, and he was responding to constituents. I had to fly home to work the storm, which I got criticized for, but he never stops. He's always worried about his constituents. And to your credit, you guys did an amazing job. When Columbia Gas hit, those roads were destroyed.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the thought process was. You guys did utilities as well before repaving. correct?
That was always a Dan Rivera thing, and I got to give him credit. He always complained, even when he was on the council. Why is it that we pave a road and then after it's paved, we dig it up to put down a pipe?
And you didn't do that. And if you go through,
they reversed it.
If you go through Dave's district now, because I'm a contractor, we do work in Lawrence and stuff. The roads are tremendously improved.
Yeah.
So you guys did an amazing job.
Yeah, no, there was 71 miles of trenching that had to happen, and all three communities involved. But Dan Rivera was the mayor at the time. We insisted that this work get done, and Halloween was coming, and we wanted the roads closed up. But the long game is we wanted the roads, right? We wanted the roads. We had invested a lot of money as a city council and a mayor for the last decade.
You had just finished paving a ton of roads.
My street, which hadn't been, I grew up on that street. 53 years it hadn't been paved. It was a dirt road, right? And it was paved 53 years ago. It finally got paved literally the next September.
Columbia Gas.
Right. And so for all the
God does not want you to have a road.
No, all the time riding bikes and roller skate and whatnot. It finally had a pristine street.
He's got the best lawn in the street too.
I bet he does. So what was, and I'm sure you've probably given this some thought too. What are your biggest disappointments leaving the city council? Like things that you wish that you could have gotten done, or things that you maybe did that you now regret?
So I'd have to say the biggest thing, and it was something I pushed for, and I'm going to continue to stay involved and keep pushing for, and a master plan for the city of Lawrence. I was talking about it in the mayor's race in 2009. The city back then was losing out on grant money because it did not have a master plan. It did not have a cohesive way as to the way it thinks about the future. And
can you explain to people at home what a master plan is?
Yes, it's a comprehensive plan that doesn't focus on any one thing. It's your big plan. It's your 100,000 foot. This is where we are today. This is where we want to be in 20 years, 25 years, and then you literally fill it in, and you use that as your roadmap to get there. And Lawrence never has a roadmap. We go from one crisis to another, and it's like rope-a-dope, and you get what you plan. And today, right? I mean, the city in the last 6 months is financing over $200 million in schools between the Mass School Building Authority and the City of Lawrence.
Isn't that insane, by the way?
Not only is the dollar amount, it almost feels, it feels funny just to say $200 million and just have it roll off your lips. And that's the low number.
Right.
And the sad part is when those schools are completed, they're already beyond capacity because Lawrence doesn't look at housing stock, public safety, public education, and all the other services, whether they be senior or other social services. They don't look at that. And they're building these schools, and they're already outdated before a brick is laid. Right. They need to be built. These schools are in heinous condition. But where's the plan? Why are you building them there? Why are you building them that way? And you're spending the taxpayers' dollars, a lot of taxpayers' dollars. It's no way to run a business, and that's kind of what it is.
My position has always been when the teachers inside the school are doing a good enough job that these kids can get a good job and get into college, then I'd think about supporting building a new school. But otherwise, you're just giving kids a prettier place to not be taught in. And I look at the failures of the Lawrence schools, and I look at how they're not teaching kids, how kids are graduating. They can't speak, read, and write English, most of them. They can't get a good job. They can't get into a four-year college. And 80% of them that get into a four-year college don't make it the first year or two. They end up dropping out. And then people start talking about we need to build more schools or build new schools. And my thing is like, we need to be focusing on what's going on in the schools, not how pretty the schools need to be.
And you are correct. You are correct. It's the syllabus. It's what's being taught.
Right.
And how it's being taught is most important. But let me be clear. The Leahy and the Oliver schools, which were the most recent examples, deplorable condition.
Is there capacity issues, Dave?
There's absolute capacity issues, but I mean, water, mold, boilers, you name it. They're over 100 years old.
Right.
They hadn't been cared for, and that's shame on the city of Lawrence. That's shame on people like me, right, that hold elected offices that should be holding people accountable over a period of time.
Right.
But don't compound the issue. Don't compound the issue with the finances. But not to go down that rabbit hole, but you're right. And the most important thing is the education, what you're teaching, how you're teaching it.
Right.
In Lawrence's case, though, I would the case for the Oliver and the Leahy. They were deplorable schools.
No, I taught at the Oliver. My mom actually worked at the Oliver. It's a historic building, right? It was named after Henry K. Oliver, one of the founders of Lawrence. Is the historical integrity of the outside of the building that, I mean, it's a beautiful building outside. Unfortunately, inside it's horrible. Are they going? Do you know if they're going to keep the historical value of like what it looks like outside?
Yes, the facade. The facade is going to be kept. It's be propped up, and essentially they're going to build a 21st century, beautiful, cutting edge labs. I mean, Oliver didn't have labs. Doesn't have a cafeteria. Doesn't have a gym. It's going to be a 21st century school built behind the facade of the Oliver that you taught in, and that is a nice touch, like the Weatherby 20 years ago. So it's going to be like just like the Weatherby 20 years ago.
Great. Dave Id, how do you guys, like, I can't figure out, because I know his personality, I know your personality is a lot more like mine.
Central Catholic.
Dave's is much more like my friend Tim Hart, and I can't figure out how you two guys are friends.
Central Catholic.
Central Catholic.
Right, 4 years.
Yeah,
my master plan. Let's talk about my master plan. Never mind his master plan. My master plan is he moves out of Lawrence, buys the house next door to me in Methuen,
and runs for office.
Runs for mayor when Neil Perry's done, okay? And comes over and we share sausages together.
He'd be a great mayor.
He's the best sausage cooker ever.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of very hot sausage.
He grills at my house because I'm terrible.
And Borelli's Deli makes me a special hot sausage. They'll now sell to the public now because I started bragging about it. People started going in.
He won't cheat on me. You did.
Right. Oh, that's true. I did. Yes. So I'm a big hot sausage guy. So anytime you want to make me like super hot sausage, can't be hot enough.
Well, to be clear, I cook it. His father, his 92,
but my mom's kind of taking that over now.
92-year-old father and his
recipe
mom,
from Sicily.
Oh, okay. So it's their recipe.
They make the sausage, and then it's kind of like handing the Stanley Cup to the winning hockey team.
Gotcha.
And then I take it, and I have.
I'm gonna have to call Don Smiriglio and see if I can steal that recipe.
But we do eat good when we're together. We have a lot of fun between the Lebanese cuisine and the Italian cuisine.
So you guys went to Central together? Because you look like you're 10 years younger than him. No offense.
Look at the hair.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I lost my hair 20 years ago.
I look younger than him?
Yeah, you look like you're 10 years younger than him.
That's because he's 10 times smarter than I am. So it's off balance.
Okay, Fair enough.
He's a good-looking guy, and look at the product. Look at the product.
Have you ever thought of running for something else? State rep, state senate, state office, or moving to New Hampshire where people will actually vote for you? Can maybe come up here in New Hampshire and run for something?
Going forward, no. But I intentionally did not close my political account down because for me it's public service, and the question was, why are you leaving it open? What are you doing? Nothing. But it shouldn't mean that I'm not telling you the truth. It's just right now I have a great job.
Right.
I got a great family, and just like coming back to the council, we'll see what opportunity in the form of need comes up. And so I don't know. I've never wanted to be a state legislator. That being said, when Sue Tucker retired, someone asked me, I gave it about a night's thought, and I said, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Don't want to do that.
But he's got a long legacy of public service. He was in the Army Reserves.
National Guard.
National Guard. Yeah. Okay, sorry. And he's
like Dave and David.
And public service comes to him naturally.
Right.
Unlike me, I've been in the private sector my whole life. But even his job now at the MBTA, he's still serving constituents.
Right. Right.
So that's what he does.
The phones are lighting up.
Your replacement, Stephanie Infante.
Yes.
Whom I love to death.
Mm-hmm. She's great.
We started off not liking each other, but we've ended up loving each other. She's got a tough job, right? She's coming in after you. She's got big shoes to fill. What advice do you have for her going forward as to what she's going to have to do in order to continue where you left off?
She's got to be herself. So first of all, she's a young professional, and she's really, really great people. She's smart, articulate, thoughtful. She needs to stay all of that. And, in District E, there's no hub. She's a district councilor. There's no common, like Mark LaPlante, the president of the city council, awesome guy. He's got the stadium. He's got O'Connell Park. They're kind of like hubs. Right. You grew up in one of those neighborhoods, right? And actually, you grew up between them. But in District E, it's kind of decentralized. And so you have to get out and about and listen and the social media and the various 21st century outlets. And because someone who's down on Newton Street or someone who's down on Everett Street, their problems are a lot different than just a half mile away. And it's a very diverse, not only ethnically, demographically, but just the nature of the district. And you gotta have your head to the rail. You gotta be listening. You know, you were joking about it earlier. You really do. You have to be listening to them. I've told the councilors many times that we're just getting elected and coming on. Getting elected is the easy part.
Right.
It really is the easy part, because the real job starts once you're elected.
I always ask people once they win and they're all crowing that they won it. Yeah, but what did you win? Trust me.
Yeah.
You actually lost. The guy that lost the election, he's the guy that won.
Right? And so Stephanie just has to continue being herself, and she will. And she needs to, do what's right in the moment, whatever that issue comes up, but constituent services. And Lawrence has a lot of needs. And again, as I just articulated, they're different just within her district. And she'll do a fine job. She'll do a fine job because she's a thoughtful person.
She does a great job at the vocational school.
Yeah, I hear all good things with her. All good things with her. In fact, she's been on the show. She came on the show when she was running. Didn't even tell me she was running. She came on to promote the Vogue. And
she loves the Vogue.
We talked about some of the great programs, especially the adult programs that they're offering. And even like when we were off the air on our way out, she never said, "Oh, by the way, I'm running for city council." I found out on Facebook like a week later.
No,
that she had already declared like a week earlier, and I'm like, she didn't even tell me.
I was just talking to Dave about this before we came in. She's starting a program now where they're reaching out to people like me, asking if we're interested in getting involved as contractors to teach night school and things like that. So
that's great.
Someday when I retire, I'd love to be. I think I'd be a good teacher. I need a little bit more PC. He's got to help me because
I'd last 30 seconds.
I don't have a
teaching
filter.
So I taught for 4 years. Let me tell you something. I'd last 5 seconds in this environment.
Listen, let me just take a moment, but in case we run out of time, you taught. You opened the show talking about the scholarships. The scholarships that Tom and the Bash put together are top shelf, and he didn't ask me to do this. I'm serious. I'm being serious. Donate. The Junior ROTC Scholarship, which is the one I'm most familiar with, these are great kids in Lawrence, and it's a great program. And Tom does, what he's doing here is good stuff. And I mean, we've lost 3 people in the last decade that have served their country from Lawrence, and
their families are all going to be there. We've got a Gold Star table for them.
Yeah, and what's more important, if I may add to his. I was thinking of donating to the vocational school, but after speaking to him, you talk about these kids from Lawrence who didn't come from an affluent community, and they want to serve and go into ROTC. That's why I brought this check.
Oh, no.
Yep, for the Lawrence High Alumni Association for the ROTC.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes. So that's just one. This other one's for you. Okay.
All right. Very good.
Okay.
I feel like I'm on the Jerry Lewis telethon now.
And that's for the. So can we get you two guys to come to the Bash? We'd love to have you in the room. We'd love to have you there.
If I can I might carpool with Neil Perry, Mike Samard,
and Tina Conway, and Dave Beauregard,
Steve Saber. So I'll just drive them all there. If you want people to roast you, I might have to buy a bigger vehicle.
That's true.
That's true. To bring them.
Listen, even Steve Saber, as much as he hates me, if he showed up that night and said, "I want a microphone for 5 minutes," I'd hand him the microphone. I'd let him say whatever he wanted to say.
Poor Councilor Saber. He's relentless on the guy.
I'm going to have to pay more attention. I just want to say also, I'm going to donate again this year, not only from my account personally, but also you have a good friend of ours, I noticed, Michelle DeLuca.
Yes.
Benedetto.
Yep. Oh, that's right. You knew her too.
I knew her with you.
Right, because we hung out with Ken all the time when we were kids.
And her son, Jonathan, and my daughter, Elizabeth, went to school together. And
no kidding.
They're good friends.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I didn't know that coming into today, so that'll be another.
Great. So how much can we put you down for?
He never stops. You buying me lunch today?
Well, yeah, I need to get that total up.
You know what?
Just surprise us, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So we got about a minute left. What would you like to say to your constituents after serving the community, after doing all of this for all this time? Mm-hmm. This might be the last time they see you, right? And in some kind of public setting like this, like an interview type setting, unless you want to come back. What do you have to say?
Thank you.
to those.
I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
It really is a privilege to serve, because you get elected and then you represent 100% of the people, whether they voted for you or not, and you're doing what you can for them, and they let you into their house, they tell you their problems, and they put a lot of faith in you, and sometimes you come up short and you feel horrible about it, but I want to say thank you. That's what I want to say. Yeah.
And Dave Idkinsoli, we always appreciate you being here. You're looking for help at Pleasant Valley Landscaping.
Yeah, just like everybody else. We're okay, but we need help.
What does it cost to start? Like, so if somebody's interested and they want to come work for you, what do you pay to start? You can't say.
I'm not going to say that.
'Cause it's different for everybody.
It's different. Sometimes we get people that come in that can, like, you turn the key, they can take over the whole operation. And then you got a guy, you hand him a shovel, and he's like, "Which end do I start with?"
So listen, before you run out of time, you might not say it, but this guy pays health benefits. He's a top shelf organization. He's a top shelf person, and the thought of when we were,
we don't hire illegals. I think that's the biggest part that hurts me, because a lot of guys they take advantage of illegals.
Well, yeah, they pay them under the table and keep more money from the contract.
They pay them under the table, and they just take advantage of them. And I'll close the doors before I do that.
He pays great wages,
but he's going to pump my tires. I'll pump him right back. He's amazing. His wife is amazing. His kids are awesome. I'm wearing my Merrimack shirt because his son and my son were freshman roommates when they moved into Merrimack. So they're a great person. I'm glad we got him on. This is all about him. Never mind me today. But he deserves, a lot of respect for what he's done for the city of Lawrence.
Well, listen, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate being your friend for the last how many years. We have been on the same side on most things, right? A couple times we weren't, but we always stayed friends, and I always appreciated that.
And that's old school, right? I mean, you can disagree on something and drink a beer or have a pizza the next day.
He's good. He's good like that, because like him and I don't agree on a lot of things. Sometimes he's over the top, but we still
him.
Yeah.
Him, not you. I'm 100% lockstep with you. I'm not burning that bridge.
I'm way over the top sometimes. All right, Chrissy can, I think, roll that up. I want to thank our sponsors, McLennan Real Estate. We got to get Matt back in here. We're going to talk about the real estate prices. AFC Urgent Care in Methuen and North Andover. We love Lisa Williams and her husband and Zaka and everybody over there. Marsan and Son Construction. Boy, do I hope Ronnie Marsan runs for mayor of Methuen next year. EIS Investigation and Gun Training. Borelli's Deli, best hot sausages. And by the way, best butternut squash ravioli anywhere in the Merrimack Valley. Tomo and Happy Crab. I think we're going there after the show. Clear Path for Veterans, New England. Sullivan Insurance, a free shout out to them. And the Lazy River Products in Drake-It, cannabis store in Drake-It is now advertising with us, and so I'll probably be there next week. If you go, you'll probably run into me. Thank you to Chrissy, my fine producer. Thank you to Dave for the donation. And thank you to Dave Garofalo from Studio 21 Podcast Cafe for not only letting me keep my show after all the controversy, but for donating $2,100 to our scholarships.
That's amazing.
Sounds like Melvin Taylor says we got to go home. Yep, he does, so go home already.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.